Alright, we're going to check to see what this recording sounds like. This is all a test, so what I'm going to be doing is stand-up comedy. I'm going to turn on my speaker
Bluetooth mode
and see what kind of like different sound we have. Alright, let's see where the recording is. I assume I'm not going to be burying the recorder. Let's see. We'll give this a shot. Alright. This is a series of comedy performances that I am doing prior to an album called Jokes for Schizophrenics. I'm going to do 42 performances. I've already done 7. 7 half-hour performances on the street. And I was going to do it in the usual location. I'm actually doing it, this one, on September 19th in the parking lot at a high dive. I was going to do it in front of Mutiny Cafe, but there was a guy in front of Mutiny Cafe selling rocks for $1. He was selling rocks for $1, and if you know one thing about comedy, people tend to throw rocks at comics. Like they do. They just throw rocks, and if like somebody's like selling rocks for $1, he's just sharpening them up and polishing them up. I mean, that's just too easy. I mean, it's better than tomatoes. And you could actually get the rock back and polish it up again. I mean, these are the things I have to worry about doing stand-up comedy. Hello, how are you? Would you like to see a stand-up comedy performance? A few jokes, perhaps? On the travels? All right. If not, I'll just begin. So, hey, everybody. I'm Mike Coppolino, and I look like I smell. Yeah, I look like drugs. Thank you. So people keep telling me I live in a bad neighborhood because I live there, but it's not true. I actually live in a bad neighborhood because they sell heroin there. Thank you. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that this happens. But you know, shit happens to me all the time. Like, I was at a coffee shop the other day in my neighborhood, and this guy walks up to me inevitably, and he says, hey, you know where I can get some heroin? I had to look at him and say, yeah, of course I know where to get heroin. There's a heroin dealer, like, sitting 10 feet away from us. We both know him. Why don't you go talk to Keith? And he says, I don't like talking to Keith. I think Keith is an asshole. So I say, where do you expect me to find asshole-free heroin for you, you know, on a Sunday? But he didn't take the hint, you know. He actually got more scratchy and really insistent. And he wanted me to go look for heroin on a Sunday. But he wanted me to go look for heroin in his Prius. Like, he has a Prius he's driving around. And I don't know if you know this, but, you know, looking for heroin in a Prius is like looking for tigers in a styrofoam Jeep, you know? You know what that's like? It's like visiting ATMs with a gun to your head. It's not something an experienced person does, you know? So luckily, there was this tweaker sitting over there, standing over there, or twitching over there. You know, he's just doing stuff. You know what a tweaker does. You know, he's teaching some resistant plants how to rebuild an engine. You know, we know the guy. His name's Wiggy. And because he wears a white wig, you know. Anyways, he is talking to these plants, being dirty. And all I did was, you know, this guy was being really talkative about scoring junk. All I did was snap my fingers, you know, a few times, like, yeah, but not without the voice or anything. And this tweaker turns around at the sound, you know, kicks all the holograms off his legs and turns around. And I just move out of the way and I go into the restaurant to use the restroom, because that's what a normal person does in that situation. And so anyways, I go, you know, take a leak. And when I come out, these two are the best of friends. I mean, obviously, I knew that was going to happen. I mean, you hook up the world's greatest talker and the world's greatest listener together within 5 feet of each other, they're going to come up with ideas, you know. So they did. You know, they came up with great ideas. And one of their great ideas was to get into this Prius and go look for heroin, you know. And they went into the parking lot, they went to the Prius, and I felt like the Jane Austen of 5 Points, you know, just being that guy. But I started having second thoughts. I started having regrets. You know, it's like two junkies in a Prius. What is that going to be? Like, Priuses are already silent, and you got two junkies at the helm. You know, it's like letting loose Braille for middle finger out to the world. You know. And I should feel guilty, but I don't, because I'm on drugs, you know, and I have to get these people away from distracting me, you know, while I'm enjoying myself. So, anyways, I don't really care about my neighborhood because, you know, I live there too, you know. Speaking of which, I should just start telling jokes, like real jokes. So anyways, I was talking to my financial planner the other day. It's a sight gag, all right? Yeah. Anyways, after going over the books, we decided my best option for retirement would be to take enough drugs to hallucinate a condominium. That's my best option for retirement. That way, I could take enough drugs. Oh, I fucked up that joke. See, this is why I'm doing practice. No, take enough drugs to hallucinate a condominium. That way, I could sell the condominium after a few years, buy more drugs, and hallucinate a 3-bedroom house with a swimming pool. You know, that's a much better plan. And it seems like a great plan. Only trouble is, every time I meet this financial planner, we do all the drugs, and his office is still a coffee shop. You know, it seems like it would work, but then it doesn't. You know, so I suggested to my financial planner, hey, you know, why don't we just take enough drugs to hallucinate more drugs? We can take enough drugs to hallucinate more drugs. We can eliminate the middleman. It's sound business advice. You are a financial planner, after all. You know. But he said we shouldn't do that. He said it wasn't smart. It wasn't prudent. But I did it anyways. And now I live in Greeley. That's a regional joke, all right? That's a regional joke for Colorado. We all know what Greeley's like. Anyways, speaking of which, they say the early bird, you know, he gets the worm, you know? But the meth bird stays awake. The meth bird stays awake, so who really gets the worm? The early bird or the meth bird? You know? It's actually not a trick question. It's the early bird that gets the worm. Because the meth bird is never hungry. Alright? You can probably tell I'm desperate, you know? I'm pretty desperate. I applied for a job because I was desperate. But they made me go all the way to Aurora to pee in this cup for this drug test, you know? I had to take a drug test. And I failed that drug test, you know? I peed in this cup all the way, like 10 miles away from my house. And then as I'm driving home, the lab calls me back and they say, hey, Mr. Coppolino, bad news. You're hired. You get the job, you know? Yeah, when could you start bagging fertilizer at the shit factory? You know, bring your own shovel. You know, that's what they say. You know? But I'm not really into all that stuff. I've actually been taking pills for anxiety. You know, I've been coping with anxiety. So far, it's been terrifying. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. You know, I complained to my doctor about it. You know, I complained to him. I said, hey, doctor, I'm stressing out here. You know? He says, relax. You know, I'm a doctor. I know what I'm doing. I said, of course you know what you're doing. You're a great white shark. I mean, you're 11 feet long. I mean, thanks, Obamacare, for hiring sharks to do our medicine now. People will believe anything. Oh, man. You know what the real Tide Pod Challenge is? The real Tide Pod Challenge would be making Tide Pods edible and also able to get out tough stains. And we really haven't, we've dropped the ball on that. I mean, they are so attractive as candy. Why can't we make them edible and also able to get out tough stains? Alright, science should, like, catch up to us. Oh, man. Speaking of which, what's the worst thing about doing cocaine in a bathroom? Worst thing about doing cocaine in a bathroom is you have to smell everything twice as much. Now, actually, it's not seeing your kids on the weekend. That's the worst thing about doing cocaine in a bathroom. Alright? Oh, gosh. Yeah, I have to eliminate the oh goshes and the sighs at my bad jokes. Because people have to believe this is funny, you know? I have to deceive them somehow. Oh, man. They say everything comes in handy for the obsessive masturbator. That's a pretty easy joke, right? You know, that's an easy one. Here's another one. So me and my girlfriend have been having trouble lately with the love life. Yeah, that's a classic joke. So she suggested we get in the role playing to spice it up. And I agreed, naturally. I agreed. So now twice a week, she pretends to be a waitress in a truck stop, and I pretend to be more attractive. Thank you. Thank you. Also, I have a friend. I have a friend. If you could believe that, I have a friend. And his parents bought him a house, and all he does is masturbate in it, you know? He's one of those guys. But he was complaining about his job. He was at my house complaining about his job, and I had already spent a bunch of time working, and I was in no mood for it. But, you know, usually his job is to come to my house, and we give him money for Pacifico, and he goes to the liquor store, and he comes back with Bud Light and keeps the rest of the money. And that's his job. He buys toilet paper with the rest of the money. And then he gets in a race with us to see how much Bud Light he can drink with our money. That's his job, you know. But anyways, he came to my house with money, and he was complaining about his job. And his job was to clip weed in the mountains. He's a weed clipper. Yeah, for 3 days, he was in the mountains, clipping weed, and he got fed up there. He got fed a bunch of food, and he got paid $250, and he got a place to sleep in the mountains. He got a place to relax in the mountains. And he had a big bag of weed, like a big sandwich bag of weed, and I was smoking it with him. And he was complaining the whole time about his job. And I said, what? And here's the complaints he had. He had 2 complaints the whole time. The first thing he was complaining about, nonstop, was that he was working with hippies the entire time. There was nothing but hippies at this weed clipping place, and he was just getting all pissed off because he's a Def Leppard fan, you know? And you know, he's not into that. He's not into like all this stuff. Also, they made him wipe his ass with cabbages. They had no toilet paper. They just had a cabbage in the restroom. And they made the whole commune wipe their ass with this cabbage. And it was like some sort of product they were making. It's genetically modified cabbages. What it is like, it's like a cabbage that has the consistency of toilet paper. And what you do is, you break off some leaves off this head of cabbage, then you wipe your ass with the cabbage, and then you throw it in the garden, you know, as compost. And what it does is it makes more cabbages. It just, each leaf produces another whole roll of toilet paper, or potential toilet paper. And then they have a renewable supply of toilet paper. Supposedly it's green, you know, it's for the planet. And he was complaining about that, and I don't know if I complain. I mean, 3 days in a commune smoking a bunch of weed, I don't know if I complain about that. You know, I told him, hey, you know, if they were giving me cabbage to wipe my ass with, I would wipe my ass with the cabbage. I think it would be cool, you know, on everything. But he says, well, the trouble is, this cabbage is genetically modified, and they're experimenting with the cabbage. And what they don't know is the cabbage has prions in it. And prions are small protein molecules. And what they do is they code your RNA and infest your brain and give you Alzheimer's-like symptoms or meningitis, whatever you want. It's like mad cow disease. And this mad cow disease migrates up your ass into your brain. And then what happens is, you wander out to the middle of the street, you stand in front of the garbage cans, and the Elon Musk robot tanks and spider drones come by and pick you up and take you to the dump and turn you into organic fertilizer. And that's how we all die. And I had to look at my friend and say, how do you even know all of this? I mean, you're a Def Leppard fan. You're wearing parachute pants right now. And he says these words to me. He says, well, the reason I know all this is because I'm not actually your friend. I'm actually you. I'm you from the future, but not really from this future. I'm from a multiverse future that's diagonal to this future, 7 years in the future. And in this future, where the wind is kicking up, I am you. I am actually you. I don't look like you, obviously. I look nothing like you. But I have all of your memories from 7 years in the future in this multiverse. Like, we all exist simultaneously. And I have your soul. I mean, the soul is like spread out throughout the multiverse. And I came here to warn you that this is how we all die. And this is how we die in your universe 7 years from now. Because this technology is already fully developed. Like, nobody's just really experimenting with the whole thing. Everyone just thinks it's a bright idea at this point. And I looked at my friend and I go, oh my God, this isn't weed, this is PCP. We're smoking PCP. I mean, he got that sandwich bag from 7-Eleven. Speaking of which, what's the worst thing about doing cocaine in a bathroom? I mean, you should know. I mean, most people listening to this are going to be comics. I've already done this joke. I mean, I'm standing here in front of you. This is where I'm failing miserably. I should just have a set of like 10 jokes I tell that are automatic. I do 10 one-liners. Like, I could do that, right? So anyways, you know, getting Divine to eat a warm dog turd in a movie Pink Flamingos, it's not the worst thing John Waters ever did. Actually, the worst thing John Waters ever did happened 2 minutes later when he said, damn, there's no film in this camera. Oh, gosh. I know. So, Durex, the condom company, just came out with a condom that enhances male sensitivity. You know, finally, right? And for added protection, each condom is wrapped in its own little apology note. Thank you. I saw this news story out of Alabama because I follow the news. I saw this news story where this man swallows a live trout. He swallowed a live trout, and he died of it. That's how he made the news. He died of asphyxiation. Just goes to show you, not all people are pelicans. You know? Oh, gosh. I'm terrible at relationships. Speaking of which, obviously I'm terrible at relationships. All of my ex-girlfriends still like me. Oh. Like, these are easy jokes. Gosh. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. This is the kid's joke. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. But sleeping tight just makes the bed bugs more aggressive. Oh, gosh. So people say the hardest thing about being in the Illuminati is staring at Iggy Azalea's ass and making sure it stays important. But that's not true. Actually, the hardest thing about being in the Illuminati is listening to conspiracy theories long enough to get blamed for them. That's the worst thing. So I've done acid, obviously. I mean, you could tell. Yeah, I've done acid over 250 times this year. And acid doesn't affect me at all. Acid makes me incredibly sober. Like, seriously, I wake up every morning and think, oh great, the sky's exploding, how should I dress? You know, covered in ants or covered in spiders. What do I choose? I don't know if I should tell you this, but I have fetishes. My old fetish, my old fetish used to be making people look up things in their phones to avoid talking to them, you know? That's the thing I would do. Because my eyes are bad and people keep making me look up things on their phones. They want me to see skateboard tricks or some cute cat or something that makes them connected with the universe and show me it so I could get bored with it, you know? But what I usually do is whenever they start exhibiting that behavior, I start making them look up things like, you know, you ever wonder if they schedule executions for April 1st, you know? Because that's a thing people should know. Like, do they schedule executions for April 1st? It might be cruel to do that. Because it's a holiday, but is it really a holiday? Everyone knows about it. Do the courts avoid it, you know, if that should come up, like, automatically after, like, a certain time? Like, this guy's scheduled for April 1st. I don't know, I think that would be, like, kind of, like, demeaning, you know? I mean, can you imagine, like, these executions, like this guy is strapped in a chair and he's getting injected with all the drugs, you know, humanely. But he has time, so he probably starts screaming, you know? He starts screaming because this is the last 3 minutes of his life. He gets all sweaty. And a guard shows up and says, hey, why are you screaming? You know, why are you screaming? You know, we're just injecting you with tap water. No, you're right. We don't schedule executions for April 1st. That would never happen. I'm sure there's a call. There's obviously been a call from the governor. In fact, why are we even here? I mean, seriously, Keith, where are the keys? Why is he even strapped in the first place? Why did we even get this far? Are we cruel too? No, seriously, get the keys. Let's get him back to his cell. Yeah, of course you get 2 last meals. Of course you get 2 last meals. No, it's April Fool's. You know, we are murdering you. I mean, that would be... See, that would be rough. But like I say, some of these jokes aren't funny, you know? I don't even know if that's a one-liner. You know, for the last 36 months or 48 months or whatever, I've been doing this for a while. I've been going to aquariums, like big aquariums, like, you know, Birch Aquarium and SeaWorld and all this stuff. And I've been walking around the park asking people if dolphins get venereal disease. You know, asking people if dolphins get venereal disease, because I want to know, because what if the salt water cures it? I mean, salt water might cure most venereal disease. I mean, osmosis exists. A lot of things can't survive in salt water. And you start thinking about it. I mean, I would argue that, you know, maybe that's the reason dolphins evolved in the first place. I mean, everyone knows dolphins are, like, smart. They're smart, you know? But 80 million years ago, there were these little rhinoceros creatures running around on the beach, and they were smart. And because they were smart, you know, they were doing a lot of recreational fucking. They weren't actually reproducing. They were just having tons of sex on the beach, because what else can they do? I mean, they're already at the beach, and they're naked. So they were doing a lot of sex, and then they got a lot of venereal disease, because, you know, diseases spread that way. And these dolphins, these potential dolphins that were small rhinoceroses, go, oh my God, this burning is terrible. Like, they were thinking that, you know, in their high-pitched voices. Oh, this burning is terrible. Let me just jump in this body of water and see if that fixes it. Let me see if it cools it down. I mean, this seems like such a bright idea. And they go, oh, this is much better. I think I'll stay here. You know, and then 80 million years later, we have dolphins. They just evolved that way to avoid venereal disease. And I think it's a valid evolutionary theory, you know, it's scientific even. But, so I've been asking people this for, like, however long. At least 3 years I've been asking people at parks and stuff. And I found out 2 things. Well, 3 things. First off, nobody wants to look up things in their phones. That's the first thing I found out, you know, because you know, nobody wants to excite me. The other thing I found out was this, is that pilot whales get genital warts. Pilot whales get genital warts, and that's why they beach themselves, because they can't scratch it. The flippers can't reach it. You know, they're not built that way. They're built for swimming. They're not built for scratching. Excuse me, I have a cough. And the other thing I found out is that a lot of people think they get rescued by dolphins. There's a lot of people that think they get rescued by dolphins. And there's a whole mythology of it in a philosophy called dolphinology. You can look it up, you know, you can look it up. It's a real thing. People think these dolphins are altruistic creatures that save humans from drowning just for their own, like, spiritual needs, you know. But here's what we found out. And they actually made a show about it called Flipper. You know, I don't know if you've seen Flipper. They don't show it very much anymore because of the findings. You know, but Flipper was a show where a dolphin swam around in Florida, and he was like the lassie of the ocean, and he saved a bunch of kids from drowning and broke up, like, certain things, like smuggling rings, you know. And that existed. They don't show it anymore. But here's what we found out. In 2006, a bunch of scientists went out there and studied some dolphins. They did an oceanographic study. They found out that dolphins are not actually saving people from drowning. What dolphins are actually doing is dolphins are actually just having sex with people. They're trying to have sex with people. Raping people, if you would. But they're not raping people because they're animals, but they don't know. But they're just having sex with people towards the beach. Because if you have sex with people towards the ocean, they can't, like, get any penetration or leverage on you. They want to get you down to the beach so they can really get some get something happening, have some fun. But what happens is, as these humans are getting fucked towards the beach by these dolphins, they realize they're drowning, and they realize they have legs, and they get to like the sand, and they run out of the ocean. And they go, oh, thank you, dolphin, for saving me. Thank you. Just because of this, I'm going to write a book about it, about how great you are. We're not going to mention any other things that happened because I'm already traumatized. But I'll write a book about it, just to let you know. And the dolphins, just think, because they're smart, they go, fuck you, we evolved from you, you rats. In fact, just for spite, they'll probably just go have sex with a ball of kelp, because they're playful that way, and they know you're not fun. I mean, that's all speculation. I actually just work at SeaWorld. I'm part of this vast conspiracy that demonizes dolphins. Maybe they are spiritual creatures. Like, what would I know? This is just a joke. Oh, man. I do have conspiracy theories. Actually, not many. I just have one conspiracy theory. I think that facts are conspiring to make me look idiotic. That's my big conspiracy theory. I think it's a universal conspiracy theory. Speaking of which, I was at an adult bookstore the other day, because why else would I exist? I walk into this adult bookstore, and I see this guy at the counter having an argument with the cashier. And he's got this stretched out blow-up doll all out of its box. Like it was like a box, and this thing is out of it like a bed or something, like one of those inflatable beds. But it's all deflated, it's all like folded, still has creases in it. And he's pointing at his blow-up doll, the whole entirety of it, all over the countertop. And he said, hey, my blow-up doll is defective. My blow-up doll is defective. My blow-up doll has a hair lip, and it's going to cut me. And I want a full refund. He's complaining to the adult bookstore. And I look at this argument. It's a horrible argument. So I walk up to him and say, hey, man, why start with the face? I mean, why start with the face of your blow-up doll? You're just having sex with a trash bag. Like, to alleviate all this, like, drama that I'm seeing. And, of course, the cashier and the customer go, shh, because you're not supposed to do that. It's poor etiquette. But if I had a blow-up doll with a defective head, and I just stumbled across it, I would just put it on eBay. I would put it on eBay because I figure I can get like a bigger price on it. Because there's celebrities out there that are a little perverted. And maybe like David Fincher or Christopher Glover can get into a bidding war over it, and they could drop it the price for like a movie like prop or something. They could drop it the price like 10 times the amount, and I could make like 10 times the amount of money, Maybe even Nicolas Cage can get involved. That would be like a bonanza for me, But if I was really like dedicated to like having sex with a blow-up doll with a defective head, and I needed to like avoid the face, I would just Kardashian the blow-up doll. I would just Kardashian the blow-up doll. You know what a Kardashian is, right? It's not just a person. It's also a 72-day period of marriage. It's a 72-day period of marriage on the Urban Dictionary. And it also means to fart and queef at the same time. Kardashian, And there's like 122 definitions of Kardashian in the Urban Dictionary. It's that popular a word. But I went to the Urban Dictionary and actually changed the definition of Kardashian because I'm smart enough to do that. Like anybody can do it. Like there's 122 definitions. If you're dedicated enough to increase the lexicon of words in the English language, you could do something. So anyways, I changed the definition of Kardashian to when you deflate your blow-up doll halfway, and then you roll up the head. You start with the head, and you roll it all up like a tube of toothpaste until you just have the overinflated ass and the legs for support. And then you bend it over a sofa and have sex with it. And that's what a Kardashian is now. It's the new definition of Kardashian. It's a 123rd definition. I changed it, because I want to be the change you see in the world. I want to be responsible for something that means something in this universe. Oh, gosh. What's going on? Cocaine, heroin, PCP. What are these? Like, these are nouns, right? Like, I've done a lot of drugs, and I know a lot about drugs, but when I say drugs, I usually start with bath salts. Bath salts are actually a valid drug, you know? Bath salts are great. Just because some guy chews someone's face off on a bicycle path in Florida, that doesn't mean the whole experience is so bad, you know? For every guy that chews someone's face off high on bath salts, there's like 2,000 people just visiting the emergency room with a shampoo bottle shoved up their ass. And then there's like millions of other people apparently having a great time on bath salts, people like me. Also, all those other people have a great time on bath salts. Even the guy chewing the guy's face off was making nom-nom noises and stuff, you know. But if you really want to know my favorite drug right now is the cane toad, the Colorado River toad. I don't know if you know about this stuff. There's a toad you can lick and get high. It's the cane toad. And it has DMT in it, naturally occurring DMT. It secretes out of its skin, along with a neurotoxin that paralyzes your nervous system and gets you really, really high. You know, but it's a defense mechanism for the toad, you know. So what you do is, who's done DMT here? Has anyone done DMT? Like of the 3 or 4 people? Do you know what it's like? It's not like acid. Because whenever you do acid, no matter how much acid you do, you're always in the room. You're always within the boundaries of the room. When you're doing toad, it's all pastels immediately. Well, not immediately. You have a window. You know, it's not like DMT normally. It's not really like DMT. Because you have to work at DMT. If you're smoking DMT, I don't know if you know this, you have to take 4 or 5 hits, like to get over the rainbow, so to speak, to pierce the veil. You have to be really dedicated because a horrible taste and a horrible smell, it does bad things to you before you trip out. But if you're licking toad, it's already too late. Like, there's no, like, going back. You touch your tongue on a toad, you got like 30 seconds to get back in the cage before your drugs run away. It's like a powerful drug. And what happens is this, like, 30 seconds in, it is all pastel. It's just a big sheet of colors in front of your face. But you're conscious of it. You know, it's fluorescing and all this. And then that sheet of colors just turns into an Easter egg. And then you break through that Easter egg, and you're in the claws of a bird or a dragon. You're just in these claws, these giant claws. And you're flying around, and you don't care about this at all because you're already dead. You know, you're already dead and limp in these claws. And you're staring at the sun over this fully realized landscape of like rocks and things. But the sun is not really the sun. The sun's just a big rotating tetrahedron of all the scenes of your life, just flipping over and over again. With each different facet, you get a different part of your life, like all of them. But 85% of those scenes are just pictures of Barney Rubble, like specifically Flintstones vitamins, like really like colorful. And the closer you get to it, the more you like feel this self-realization and oneness with the universe. As you fly into the crystal, you wake up, and you just as suddenly as you get there, and you're laying on your bed in reality, and you're limp, and you're sweating, and you can smell colors. You know, you can smell colors, but colors smell like gummy bears. If gummy bears are made out of ammonia and copper. And you go, oh my God, there's been permanent damage. Let me do some more toad. This is fucking great. So you do more toad. You know, you like toads all the time. And not because of all the drug experience. What makes toad the best drug ever, you know, the cane toad, is that's the only drug I know that can have sex and make more drugs. You know, I never have to visit a dealer ever again, you know, because my toad is already a dealer, or the mating pair is. And it's not just like one toad it produces 150 toads, but you gotta raise them, you know. You gotta keep catching dragonflies and gnats. You can't just have a die-off in your bathroom, you know. You gotta take care of these toads. If you're gonna stay in business, like I am, you know, obviously business is good. But the trouble is this: the toads are illegal. They're a Class 2 substance, and you can't really take them like through like normal travel routes, like the airport or something, because they got zoologists waiting for you over there. They know how to identify the toads, and they're easy to spot. They're like 3.5 pounds. You know, they have a big mouth. They bite. You know, people know, like, if it's not a bullfrog, it's a cane toad, you know, and we know that's full of drugs. And if they bust you with a toad, with a single toad, it's a year in jail. They actually give you a year in jail for having a toad. But if you have two toads, they give you 8 years, because it's implied that you're into distribution of the toad. Like, you're going to make more toad. And it's a federal crime. So the trouble is, when you're doing a bunch of like Colorado River toad, where you're doing like hallucinogenic toads, you can't drive anymore. You drive like a poet, you know, you just run into cops all the time. And you out yourself. So the only way you can actually get a toad across the country, or two toads, is to take the Greyhound bus. That's the only way to do it. You got to take a bus across town from the sweat lodge you got them from. So I was in Sonora, and I boarded the Greyhound bus with my basket of toads. I had a wicker basket of toads, because they have to breathe and everything. You know, I have a separate compartment for all the gnats and dragonflies. I have to feed them. I have to feed them for 18 hours. I mean, I have to have some sort of biomass, you know, to get this scheme started. So anyways, I get on this bus with this basket of toads, and I've been tripping off toad for like 2 weeks in this sweat lodge. And I know there's been damage. Like, there's been horrible damage. I could barely get on the bus. But as soon as I get on the bus, I'm immediately confronted with a bunch of normal people. Like, there's a bunch of normal people on the bus, but they're super normal people because they're wearing bonnets. Like, there's a cult on this bus that I'm boarding because it's Sonora. You know, there's weird shit happening. There's like polyamorous or whatever groups. I don't know what they are. What do you call polygamous? It's not polyamorous. I mean, there's no love involved. They're just breeding. But all these women are wearing bonnets. Like, and they look like they've been normal for 150 years. And I'm confronted with this with my basket of toads. I start getting nervous, you know. Like, this is what I'm going to be dealing with for 18 hours? So I get past all these fucking people wearing bonnets, all these people with their, you know, their Grand Canyon University, you know, hats and their white supremacy tattoos, and all the people with their diabetes legs going home to die. You don't want to sit near any of those people, because you're already tripping, and then you got hallucinations just swell up on some guy's leg, and you don't want to have a bad trip like that. So you go all the way to the back of the bus, all the way, like trying to escape the back of the bus, and you just sit there in the last row, because that's the row next to the bathroom, and that's the seat that smells the most. But you figure that's what I have to deal with, you know, just to get these toads across, you know, state lines. So anyways, I get back there with my basket of hallucinogenic toads, and I just sit there, and I just try to relax. I try to, like, get normal, because I have to deal with these toads for 18 hours. I gotta feed them. I gotta be responsible for them. I gotta make sure they don't eat each other, you know. So I'm sitting there trying to relax, and all of a sudden, there's a rumbling going on in this bus bathroom. In the bathroom in the bus, I hear a voice in there. And the voice starts saying, "Help me." Like, "Help me. Let me out. Let me out." And I know this is an hallucination because I'm a professional, you know. I've been doing a lot of drugs. I know when something happens. But it was a very realistic hallucination. And I started thinking, if that door opens and this hallucination stumbles out of there, I'm going to have to go to the hospital. Like, I'm going to have to go, because I'm not going to be able to deal with this. And I'm going to get busted. And that's 8 years in jail. Also, you're hallucinating all the time. It's going to be hell for 8 years. Like, I don't want to deal with that. So I'm just trying to relax. I'm just trying to, like, put on a brave face. Also, nobody's noticing this hallucination is going on. Like, this bus is packed, and nobody's turning around to look at this bathroom. And the voice is getting louder. You know, it's like, "Help me, help me." And there's scratching on the door, but like weird scratching, like rustling and thumping. Like there's a body in there. You know, it's like a thing, like just bouncing against the walls of this bathroom. And I didn't want to out myself. You know, I didn't want to start screaming. So I just very calmly, I see there's a normal person across from me, like sitting across the way. It's like some German exchange student. She's like pretty good looking, you know, she's wearing dolphin shorts. She's looking at one of those like travel guides, like for like Disneyland or something. And she's reading this book, not paying any attention. And I look at her, and I say, hey, I'm sorry. But hey, do you hear a voice coming out of this bathroom? I mean, do you hear this voice coming out? It's very loud. And she looks at me, completely honestly, and she says, no, I don't hear a voice coming out of the bathroom. And I realize I'm in a terrible situation because I'm obviously going crazy. This is like, I've gone too far with these toads. Like, there's been so much damage that now I'm fucked. Like, now I'm totally fucked. I should have just stayed in Arizona. But, and I'm freaking out. I'm like freaking out inside myself. I'm starting to shake a little bit. I'm starting to get nervous. I'm starting to sweat. And then I see this rush of people coming from the front of the bus to the back of the bus. A big wave of people. Like 3 or 4 people. And they're like worried looking. And now I'm like really freaking out. There's like this army is coming to get me now. They know what's going on. But what happens is they go right past me and they go into the bathroom. They open the bathroom door. They push the door in. That's the important thing. They push the door in because it's a self-closing door. Anyways, they push this bathroom door in on the bus, and this man walks out of the bathroom. But this man has no arms. He's just a big, he's big, a neck and a head and a chest, and then legs. Like he's like 6 feet tall, you know. And he walks out of that bathroom with his little fingers on his shoulders, and he just starts looking at me right off the bat, like super angry, like super pissed off, like Jacob's Ladder look. You know, I probably was embellishing it because of all the drugs. And he's staring at me like I'm at fault, you know? But I'm just trying to relax. I'm trying to calm down. And so I look at him and I say, hey man, I'm sorry man. I thought you were a ghost. You know? And he looks at me and says, that's alright, you know, that happens all the time. And then he goes back to his seat, you know? So anyways, I got the toads home. You know, I'm feeding them in my bathroom. And I'm selling them. They're $300 a toad or $1,000 for a mating pair. That's what I have going on right now. So if you're interested in buying toads, they're available. That's how I supplement my income. Also, this is a joke. I mean, that doesn't really happen. All right? Oh, gosh. I should tell more jokes. I have a few more jokes, all right? I mean, this is 30 minutes or something. I gotta think, though. I gotta think of some jokes. Oh, I heard William Shatner's version. You know, William Shatner sings music. Like, William Shatner has a discography of albums. Do you know that Captain Kirk sings? Yeah, he sings. He's actually pretty good, you know. I've heard a few albums. But the latest one wasn't so good. I heard William Shatner's cover of 8675309 by Tommy Two-Tone. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard this song. You know, 8675309. It's very catchy. But not when William Shatner sings it, because he's not very melodic. Yeah, William Shatner just keeps repeating the number until you get it. Yeah, just keep saying 8675,399. You know, 8,675,039. This is a joke, right? Oh, gosh. What else do I have left? Oh, man. So anyways, I was in a bar the other day, and it was my neighborhood bar. They served breakfast there. And I was sitting at the bar in the morning, eating breakfast and drinking, and this guy sees me through the window of the bar, and, you know, it's a nice day, and he sees me through the window, and he gets super excited, like he gets like a puppy, like he's all wagging his tail, you can almost see his psychic tail waggling, and he walks into the bar. I don't know what to expect, but he walks right up to me, all happy, all super excited, and he walks up to me and shakes my hand. He says, hey man, I can't believe you're here. I saw you last night peeing in a police car. You know, you're peeing right through the window all over the guns, you know, during the riot. It was the most amazing thing I ever saw. It was so defiant. And I just want to come in here and shake your hand because I think that was the best thing I'd ever seen, and that I will ever see in my entire life. And And I had to look at the guy and say, hey, I know that's pretty great, but I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong guy. I mean, I wasn't peeing in a police car last night. I wasn't even out last night. And the guy looks at me, he says, yeah, right, yeah, whatever. And then he looks very confused, and then he walks out of the bar, just thinking I was a guy that was peeing in a police car last night, It's crazy. You know what that means? It means somebody's walking around right now, looking exactly like me, only they're way cooler than I am. And I can't do anything about it. I can just wait for my credit to get shitty, That's all I can do. That's the thing I've always wanted to do, like pee in a police car, But, I don't want to, just be confrontational. I want to be I want to get busted for tax evasion or something. I've probably done that joke already, where I get busted for tax evasion. I mean, that's probably going to happen, because who knows what my salary's like. But if I get busted for tax evasion, I'm going to make a point of, peeing through my clothes, being all freaked out and scared. Also, I'm going to pretend I'm really, really drunk. Probably because I will be drunk, but I'll be extra drunk, for this scenario. And I'll pee in a police car, and they'll have to clean it up, but it won't be my fault because I'll be out of my mind. And that's on my bucket list. That's something I want to do before I die, pee in a police car. Also, I want to get an ass tattooed on my face and a face tattooed on my ass, because I know retirement's going to be tough. I've already seen the numbers. I've crunched the numbers. And I figure, if I'm doing that, I could make a living in a pit, walking around naked on my hands and knees, eating raw chicken, for 10 or 15 minutes. It's not a lot of work, but I can put on a real good show. And then I can go back to my trailer and do a bunch of office work at the freak show, catch up on all the shit I've been missing out on, And that's something that's also on my bucket list. Yeah. Also, I want to make a satanic movie that gets 0% on Rotten Tomatoes and gets scheduled for January release. I mean, that's a goal in life. That's an easy thing to do. It seems like. A lot of people are doing it. All you need is a few contortionists, pretty much. 4 contortionists. That's all you need. 4 people to bend over backwards and grin at you. And then put some special effects on it. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to make a devil movie. But I've been to Hollywood. I've done things. Actually, I actually know about the process of Hollywood. And I know that before a movie ever gets made, there's a lot of people that buy treatments. They buy ideas. And they pay a lot of good money for them. Currently, SAG rates for screenwriting is $28,000 for a 15-page treatment. If they're serious about it, if Hollywood is serious about buying a 15-page treatment for a movie, and I think this is a great movie idea, they'll pay you $28,000 and some change, all right? I know because I got paid, all right? I did it. Yeah, I wrote a treatment for a satanic movie. But it's a satanic movie about a boy, if you will, or a boy that's turning into a man, all right? And he's 18 years old, and his uncle dies. His uncle dies. And his uncle is this super rich Bohemian Grove Satanist. He's a guy that lives just outside of San Francisco in Sausalito, and he goes out to the woods with a bunch of other billionaires, because there's a lot of them now. And he wanders around the woods, doing a little dance, naked with antlers on his head, and they conspire to rule the world, while doing this. And he has billions of dollars, all right? And the uncle gets played by George Clooney. That's very important, for the treatment. And what happens is the uncle dies, and the boy, or the man, or whatever he is, he's 18 years old, is all set to inherit billions of dollars from this uncle. He's the sole beneficiary of this vast fortune. But in order to collect all this money, the boy or man has to take care of the uncle's parrot. He has to take care of the uncle's parrot. And the parrot is this 70-year-old bird. A 70-year-old parrot. Because parrots live that long. But It's like a horrible parrot, you know, because it's been living a long time and people have been teaching it dance moves for 70 years, you know, so it's all like pissed off. And it has a wide-ranging vocabulary. It has a huge vocabulary that just spits out randomly, random words and stuff. And it bites people and shit. And it's a horrible parrot. But the boy has to take care of it, you know. That's like the price he has to pay. But as part of this treatment for this Hollywood movie, what the boy doesn't know in the movie is that he has latent schizophrenia. His schizophrenia is coming up. It's like childhood schizophrenia, but now it's full blown. It's coming like to the forefront. So he's taking care of this parrot, and he doesn't know whether the parrot is talking to him or not. Like, he doesn't know when the parrot's talking to him, but the parrot starts saying like real thoughts, like real like sentences and like soliloquies and stuff, and like horrible like stuff. It starts telling him like it's a familiar of Satan, you know, and he was working for the uncle, you know, and the boy has to do a bunch of stuff. That's why he inherited all this money, because he has to make more money, you know. It's part of like the devil's work, and the parrot starts telling him to do like horrible shit, like kill people, you know. But the parrot also gives him stock tips that really work, like great stock tips, like amazing stock tips. But we don't know whether the parrot is talking to him or whether the boy is just some savant, you know, that knows a lot about the stock market because he's schizophrenic, you know. He might have an interior pipeline. So he starts multiplying his billions of dollars, like if he can even do that. You know, Kylie Jenner's done it. Why can't this kid do it? He's schizophrenic. So he builds a vast fortune, and then he starts killing people, right? You know, starts killing people right and left, like hiring people to do it. You know, doing Satan's work, you know. But Satan is this bird. That's the only thing he knows about Satan is this parrot, all right? So the movie goes on, and what happens is the stock market creates this whole environment where biotech is created. Like, this boy has been investing in biotech the entire time, according to like the parrot's wishes and everything. But what happens is the biotech leads to a disease that kills all humans, but leaves a perfect world for parrots and crows and stuff. So all the humans die in the world, and all the parrots and crows are going to start giving each other high fives and everything, saying like, oh, while the city's burned, we'll have all the corn we can eat, you know. And that's how the movie ends. The movie ends with the parrot not being a Satanist. The parrot just knows a lot about Satan. He knows a lot about humans, and he just starts manipulating humans to create the scenario. Because the parrot is not like an agent of Satan. He's just really, really smart. And at the end of the movie is just a bunch of parrots flying around, you know, in the jungles, having a great time. And the movie's going to be called Polly Wants a Fortune. The movie's called Polly Wants a Fortune. And I sold that movie to Hollywood. I made $28,378, all right? At SAG rates, you know, 3 years ago. And I bought a van with the money. I spent $9,000 on a van, all right? But with the remaining like $17,000 or $19,000, I'm going to make the movie I wanted to make all along, like the movie I really want to make. And the movie I really want to make is a movie about me auditioning parrots for the previous movie. Yeah. Right? That's smart. That's as smart as a parrot in the movie. I want to make a movie where there's a bunch of parrot trainers in a room, and I'm in another room, like interviewing parrots for this movie, like just casting parrots. And there's a 2-parrot limit. Like, these trainers can bring in 2 parrots, they can't bring in any more parrots, all right? So I got like 150 parrot trainers in this room in Hollywood, this big vast room. And all I'm doing is just filming all these like people getting their parrots ready for the big scene, you know? And that's it. That's it. It's just random parrot trainers trying to convince their parents to be in a satanic movie, you know? And, you know, all of these people are nuts, you know. They've been training parrots. They've been talking to parrots for like 20, 30 years. They're all half pirate already, or Christian, or whatever. Or half like, you know, I don't know, like, who's that guy that is like the parrot guy, parrot heads. Jimmy Buffett's. A bunch of Jimmy Buffett's in there, you know? There's all three types. And I'll bring them in to my room. I'll say, bring in the next parrot. And these parrots, these trainers and the parrots will come in, and I'll evaluate the parrots for the movie. You know, I'll see how satanic the parrot looks, how mangy it is, how old it is. You know, what's the right angle of eye and beak. You know, I'll have to evaluate the parrots to see how great an actor they are. You know, because parrots can act. You know, they can be all bitey one scene, then all lovey the next. They got to do it on command. They got to be like very smart parrots. They got to be trained. You know? And then I'll be like my evaluation. Actually, this isn't a movie. This is more like a reality show of me, like, just auditioning parrots for like 13 episodes. And what happens is I boil down the parrots to like smart parrots, like parrots with a good vocabulary, you know. And I see all these parrots bobbing in their heads and everything, and you know they're in the groove. And I tell the parrot trainer they got an assignment. You know, they got 2 weeks. These parrots have to say "invest in blood." You know, they have to say "invest in blood" because that's the catchphrase for the movie. They got to be the Arnold Schwarzenegger of parrots for this movie. You know, if they're going to make the big money. So I give them these random assignments. I make them go home and train their parrots to say "invest in blood." And not every parrot, you know, not every parrot makes it. There'll be a lot of failure, you know. Even the parrots that do say "invest in blood," they're not going to say it correctly because I'm the guy making the movie and I'm a dick, all right? So finally, there'll be a bunch of like Christian parrot like trainers, like, you know, complaining that their parrot is in a satanic movie and they want more money and stuff. Like, why are you making me jump through hoops? It'll be like the whole season of like this. And then finally, at the final episode of this season or movie or whatever, there'll be like 5 parrots in a room, and they'll be in my casting room, and they'll be all lined up, and I'll evaluate them at the final call, and the last guy will be a ringer. The last guy will be acting like it's schizophrenic, and he'll be talking to his parrot in a regular conversation, but the parrot won't be saying anything. The parrot will just be sitting there on a stick, you know, just sitting there hanging out on a stick, you know, doing what parrots do, you know. And he'll be the guy that wins. And I'll go, "Eureka, I found the perfect parrot for this movie. Like, this guy is like, fits the role perfectly." And everybody will be pissed off, but I won't care because I'll be covered in parrot bites because I'll have parrot fever, you know. I'll be totally irresponsible, as I have been all along. And the movie is going to be called Polly Wants a Fortune, or the miniseries will be called Polly Wants a Fortune. I mean, it's a reality show. Why not, right? People will watch stupid things. They can watch that, and I can make a lot of money, you know. But of course, I'm not going to do that, you know. What I'm going to do is take all the money from these 2 ideas, these 2 fully developed ideas, you know, and I'm going to make the movie I really want to make. Like the movie I want to make. The movie I've wanted to make all along as my bucket list. You know, as part of my bucket list. And the movie I want to make with all this money is the movie where I move to Belize and do cocaine with Woody Harrelson for the rest of my life. And the movie is going to be called Early Retirement. And that's the movie I really want to make. And that's how I'll die probably. But I'll die happy, you know, full of drugs in Belize. And, you know, having accomplished something. Anyways, that's been a practice. That was like my first practice for the comedy set. I'm actually doing like 42 performances of comedy length, full-length album sets. Whatever full-length album is. I'm doing 30 minutes on the street, alright? So I'm going to fuck up a lot. But I'm doing 42 of them. The last one will be an album. The last one will be an album, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever, you know. And that'll be it. It'll be tight. I mean, I'll be doing this like for 42 times. Like I'll have the entire album boiled down to something. Like all of this material will be a lot better. Like I'm making this shit up as I go, right? No, not really, but anyways. That's been my time. I've been Mike Coppolino. The new album is going to be called Jokes for Schizophrenics. I'll work on that stutter. Jokes for Schizophrenics. It's a hard thing to say. It's going to be a culmination of like 4 years of street comedy, of me doing this performance in front of no one. But eventually there'll be someone. Like, who knows? I mean, you got to have an audience to like pay attention to keep you tight. But I'll be doing regular performances too throughout town. I'll be at the Irish Rover on Mondays, at 8 o'clock. So if you want to see me perform at the Irish Rover, I'll be in Denver doing that. And a few other shows. I mean, you can follow me on Facebook. Hey, it's not that hard. Anyways, that's my time. I've been Mike Coppolino. You all have a great night. And enjoy. Thank you. Alright, how was that? Alright, let's see how. This is all a test. So let's see how the phone actually worked. Oh, that was an hour. That was an hour and a minute. Ugh. So I gotta get that tighter. It's gotta be a half hour or 40 minutes. It could be done. Anyways, this has been my time. This is, what is it? What day is it? It's Thursday, September 19th, 2019. It's a weird number. It's a 9/19/19. Kind of a spiritual number, I guess. Anyways, you all enjoy, and that's a start. Thank you.